Hello, I'm Susan Woods of Susan Woods Nonprofit Solutions, and I thank you for your time. I just want to share why some nonprofits deserve to lose funding, why some nonprofits deserve to lose federal government funding. Fraud is rampant. There are several reasons some nonprofits deserve to lose federal grant funding. However, the people who establish nonprofits to intentionally exploit an IRS loophole annoy me the most. Let me tell you about this IRS loophole. Some people establish nonprofit organizations to exploit the reinstatement option. Again, some people establish nonprofit organizations with the intention to exploit the reinstatement option. Let me explain how that works. These people establish nonprofits with the intent to raise tax free money to support a cause and never report it to the IRS through the Form 990 system. Instead, they want the IRS to revoke the nonprofit status after 3 consecutive years of not reporting finances. So let's say John Doe knows that he wants to exploit the reinstatement option. So he creates a nonprofit organization. He raises tax-free money to for some cause he is created in the community that he wants to support. He raises tax-free money for 3 consecutive years because you can raise money and offer services for 3 consecutive years without reporting finances, and that's legal. Okay. However, when the IRS revokes John's status for failure to file the appropriate Form 990 for 3 consecutive years, then he completes the process to reinstate his 501c3 status. And that's when the exploitation starts. You see, he knew all along. He knew all along that the IRS does not revoke your status until you miss filing the appropriate Form 990 for 3 years in a row. He knew that. So he knew that he had 3 years to raise tax free money to solve some made up problem in the community that he is actually spending the money, right? He knows that he has 3 years to do that. So when the IRS finally revokes his status for not filing the Form 990 for 3 consecutive years, then he just completes the application process to reinstate the 501c3 status all over again. Then John starts receiving tax free money all over again for another 3 years until he's revoked again for failure to file the appropriate Form 990. And then he just rinse and repeat this process over and over again. I mean, there's no limitation. There's no limitation to this fraud. That's brilliant when a person goes in knowing, okay, I have 3 years to defraud this system, to exploit this loophole. Then I'm going to go to the IRS and say, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to file my Form 990, or my accountant quit, or my accountant got sick, or I didn't know I was supposed to do it. All types of excuses that people use to get away with not filing. All you have to do is put it in writing, put your excuse in writing, complete the Form 1023 application all over again to apply for 501c3 status, and you start with a whole new, fresh 3 years. So, how can the IRS close this loophole? The IRS Tax Exemption Division could easily close this loophole by doing these two things. One, requiring that all 501c3 nonprofits file the appropriate Form 990 information return for their nonprofit organization each and every year or have their status revoked. Don't give them 3 years to collect hundreds of thousands of dollars and not file it. If they don't file after the first year, revoke their status. Another thing they could do, they can eliminate the postmark reinstatement option that allows people to decide not to provide financial reports for the missed years. You see, there are 4 reinstatement options that you can choose from. The fourth option is called a postmark reinstatement option. That means you're telling the IRS, I don't want to go to the past. I don't want to go back into the past. I want to move forward. I want my application or my my reinstatement to have the postmark date in which I submit this application. So if John submits his reinstatement application on May the 15th, then that's the actual date of his nonprofit organization starting to offer services. That way, he doesn't have to go back to the other 3 years or the other 6 years or the other 9 years and provide financial statements or Form 990s for those missed years. Eliminate that whole option because it's being exploited. I know from personal experience helping people reinstate their nonprofit status that this is the most popular option that they use because they don't want to have to go through the research and finding all of the information necessary to create the Form 990s for the missed years. They just rather go ahead and move forward with operating a nonprofit organization using a postmark reinstatement option. But if the IRS eliminated that option, then people will have to submit their missing years for the Form 990s. Again, like I said in the beginning, some nonprofits deserve funding cuts. Some do. I mean, I'm only providing you with one example of fraud. There are many examples of fraud that I could share with you. But if an organization deliberately decides to allow their status to be revoked, then cut federal grant funding for nonprofit organizations that lose 501c3 status for failure to file the appropriate Form 990 information for 3 years. Just don't let them be eligible to get funding at all. The reason that I say that is because the IRS implemented this rule that you're supposed to submit a Form 990 information return each and every year back in 2006. And it doesn't matter if you have zero revenues. It doesn't matter if you don't offer any services at all. You still have to file the appropriate Form 990. But if you miss for 3 years, that's okay. The IRS will give you a break. You can start all over again. I recommend cutting federal grant funding for nonprofits that lose their status because they should know the rules. The only thing that bothers me about the federal grant funding cuts is the haphazard cuts. Cutting federal grant funds from nonprofit organizations haphazardly with the image of a chainsaw only hurts the grassroots nonprofits that are providing excellent services in the community. I'm talking about after school programs to help children have a place to go when they leave school. Those are being cut. I'm talking about suicide prevention program for teens. Those are being cut. I'm talking about Meals on Wheels for elderly people who don't have the ability to get out to get a good hot meal every day. Those are being cut. I'm talking about transportation services to take elderly people to their doctor's appointments when they can't afford to go or have transportation on their own. Those are being cut. How are they being cut? Let me tell you. When the federal government sends grant money to the state level, to the county level, to the city level, those entities then disperse the money down to the grassroots nonprofit organizations that apply for grant funding from those entities. So when the federal government cuts off the state, county, and town money, then the grassroots money get cut off too. But when you haphazardly cut these things, that means you don't take the time to study the impact of the cuts. And that's what bothers me. Listen, I am a person who does not believe in waste. I am a person who prints out a document on a piece of paper and then turn the paper over on the backside to print on the backside. I don't believe in waste at all, but I also believe that it's important for people to make sure they are cutting in the right places and not haphazardly hurting organizations that are doing good work in the community. I'm Susan Woods of Susan Woods Nonprofit Solutions. Here are my credentials that you can read. I've been doing this work in the nonprofit sector since 2003, and I would love to be able to help you with whatever needs you might have. If you want to start a nonprofit from scratch, I can help you. If you want to reinstate a nonprofit, I will help you after we have a consultation so I can make sure that you're not one of these people who want to exploit the system. I can help you. I offer classes that can help you keep your information up to date on how to operate within a nonprofit sector. I offer consultations. So if you have any needs, please just put them in the comments and I will respond to the comments and see what I can do to help you. Thank you so much for your time and have a great day.